the collective intelligence of the documented internet, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and so that's the level of things there, which brings me to the other side of the spectrum, right?
Mhm.
The risks and challenges. I'm sure everybody, you probably read the Kevin Rose's article in New York Times where the Sophie chatbot from Bing was asking him to leave his wife and embrace her. Those are cute little examples, but
Yes.
this notion of like you have this amazing pieces of technology, large language models that are trained on everything from the
Mhm.
Donald Trump tweets to published literature to the entire gamut of things, right? And
Mhm.
that can lead to unintended consequences and things like there's a notion of hallucinations, right?
Yes.
There are so many risks around that, but talk a little bit about the risks of hallucinations and what are some of the approaches that we can take to limit that, right? In enterprise use cases or even direct to consumer use cases.
Yes. So first, you can call it hallucination, but you can also call it creativity, or you can call it lying as well. And by the way, humans do that, right?
Yeah.
When somebody asks you, probably in this conversation we just had right now, we might have said a couple of things that are a bit creative on the creative side, meaning they're not rooted in facts, they're not rooted in the truth. And that's a good thing. Sometimes you need creativity. If you're creating a nice book like the Interstellar Galactic book you created, then you want some creativity. Actually, you want the large language model to hallucinate a bit and help you be creative in that perspective. So sometimes creativity is a good thing, and we want that, and we want to encourage that because that's how we create these amazing new plot lines and amazing
Yep.
new directions. But we need to understand when we're talking with another human or another machine, are you now in the creative mode or are you now in the factual mode? And that's a training that we have to go through as humans, because sometimes as humans, when we're talking to the machine, we think it's in the factual mode when it's in the creative mode, right? And that's what happened with the New York Times reporter. It also happened with another engineer at Google a couple of years ago, where he thought the machine was sentient, and he thought the
And
machine is asking him to go hire a lawyer to defend it against the prison it's entrapped in. And that's just was the machine being creative in mimicking the behavior of a alter ego inside of the machine. It doesn't mean it has an alter ego. It doesn't mean that it's truly trapped. It doesn't mean that it's truly in love with you and wants you to break up with your wife. It's not. It's just following your lead in creating reflecting back a creative storyline that you driven. Actually, it comes from you. Like you, as you engage with it, it just follows your lead and
like
gives
the
you.
ultimate form of inception that is
Yes,
happening right now. You thought of it, and I'm going to give
yes.
it to you right now.
That's
Right?
a good
So,
analogy. I love that. You're right. That's an awesome analogy, actually. I'm going to use that if you don't mind in the future.
of
So
course.
that said, if you're using it in a business context, if I'm, for example, go back to the workday example I gave you, and I tell it I want to take a vacation from this day to that day, and then ask me all the question, we fill everything, and then it gets creative and go and resigns on my behalf. No, that cannot be the case. You cannot hallucinate in that context. So what we need to do is make sure that we have both modes, the creative mode and the non creative or the accurate mode. Now, unfortunately, today, every now and then, because they are based on probabilistic models, these large language models can hallucinate even when you want them to be factual. And the solution to that is to do the same thing that newspapers do. When a newspaper is publishing a new article, they have fact checkers, right? So there is the reporter that writes the article, and the reporter, being human, might be creative and might hallucinate a bit and might lie a bit.
Sure.
And that's where the fact checker comes in and says, no, 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 this is not a true fact. We have to fix that. So we need to have that kind of model. And that's what we're working on in the research community, is to have these types of adversarial neural networks that monitor the output of the large language models and check them for factuality. And then if it finds the facts are not aligned with what the inputs were in terms of what you're trying to do or the answer you're trying to get, then it either eliminates these sentences from the output, or it tells the large language model, no, go try again. And it gives it some hints in the prompts on how to guide it towards being more factual than being more creative in these contexts. And we will not be able to move from this. Like I see a journey that we're going through. We had search engines in the past. The search engines give us a list of results that we have to read to figure out how to do something. And then from the search engines, we now have answer engines, and that's what ChatGPT does. That's also what
Yep.
Vectara does. It just gives you the answer. You don't have to read any of the results. We're going to read all the results for you and just give you the answer so you can get it done. But because we still have sometimes hallucinations in these answers, we cannot go yet to action engine. But once we nail it, once we nail that hallucination problem, meaning the answer we know is 100% correct, then now you can have a button under the answer that says, would you like me to do this for you? Would you like me to file this vacation for you? These are the steps. Would you like me to go ahead and do that? And you say, yes, go ahead and do it. And as we do more and more of that, and we gain more confidence in its ability to do that correctly, then now we truly reach this nirvana point of we just tell the machine what to do and we trust it to do the right thing.